Have you ever sat alone in a quiet room and whispered to God, "Why am I alone now?" Have you ever watched people slowly drift out of your life, even when you try to be kind, patient, and loving? Loneliness can feel like a punishment. It can feel like rejection. And many times, we begin to believe that God is taking people away from us. But sometimes, God is not taking anything away. Sometimes, He is simply making space. This is a story about loneliness, faith, and how God gently prepares a heart by quieting the world around it. Please stay until the end, because the truth hidden in this story may change how you understand your own silent seasons. In a quiet countryside village, where narrow dirt roads curved between small houses and wide open fields moved like soft waves in the wind, there lived an old woman named Martha. She walked slowly, she spoke gently, but her heart carried a deep and steady warmth. Her home was small, built with warm wooden walls and a simple roof. Yet anyone who entered felt a sense of peace. Martha believed that God lived wherever kindness lived, and she tried to make her home a place where kindness never ran out. There was a time when Martha's life was full of sound and movement. Her husband was strong and cheerful, a man who laughed easily and worked hard. Their son Daniel was curious and energetic, always asking questions about the world and about God. Together they worked the land. They shared meals at a small table. They prayed before sleep. They dreamed simple dreams. Martha often thanked God for giving her enough, not wealth, not luxury, just enough love to feel complete. Then one winter, sickness came quietly. Her husband grew weaker with each passing day. Martha stayed beside him through long nights, holding his hand, feeding him slowly, and whispering prayers she had learned as a child. Sometimes she begged God to heal him. Other times, she simply asked God to stay close. When her husband passed away one early morning, the house suddenly felt too large and too silent. Martha cried alone, her face pressed into her hands, asking God why love had to hurt so deeply. Yet even in that grief, something unexpected happened. Alongside the pain, she felt a gentle calling, as if God was reminding her that His presence had not left with her husband. The silence hurt, but it was not empty. After her husband's death, Martha's body grew slower. Her hands trembled when she worked. Her back bent under years of labor. Still, she continued her days with prayer. She believed that God does not give strength for the whole future, only for the day in front of us. When Daniel grew older, he left the village to work in the city. He promised to return often. At first, he did. He came home with loud stories, small gifts, and laughter that filled the house once again. But as time passed, his visits became shorter and rarer. Eventually, months went by without him coming at all. Martha learned to eat her evening meals alone. She learned the sound of the wind outside her window. Some nights, loneliness pressed heavily on her chest, and she whispered to God, "Is this what remains for me?" But every morning she still rose before the sun. She washed her face. She lit a small lamp. She folded her hands, and she thanked God for life. She never asked God to take the loneliness away. She only asked to be useful. Martha cooked simple food, cleaned her small home, and worked in her garden, where she felt closest to God as her hands touched the soil. Children passing by often stopped at her gate. She welcomed them with bread, fruit, and gentle stories. She listened patiently to their small worries, believing that God listens the same way to every heart, no matter how small. Some villagers wondered why she gave so much when she lived alone. Martha would smile and say softly, "Loneliness is not empty when God is present." Even animals seemed drawn to her home. Birds rested on her roof. A thin old dog waited outside her door each day. Martha would gently pet its head and say, "God sends those who need love." One summer, Daniel returned from the city looking tired and restless. He watched his mother cooking, serving others, and giving what little strength she had. Confused and uneasy, he said, "Mother, why do you work so hard? People will forget you. You should rest." Martha looked at him with soft eyes and replied, "My son, God has not forgotten me. And as long as I can give love, I am not alone. Daniel did not understand. To him, loneliness meant failure. He believed a full life was measured by noise and company, not quiet service. That same evening, a poor traveler came asking for food. Martha welcomed him without hesitation. Before leaving, the man blessed her and said, "May God return your kindness when your strength is gone." Daniel heard the words, but their meaning had not yet reached his heart. As months passed, Martha's health grew weaker. Her steps became shorter, her nights became longer. Some evenings, loneliness returned with force, and tears fell freely. But instead of growing bitter, Martha prayed more deeply, trusting that God was shaping her heart in ways she could not yet see. One winter she became very ill. She could no longer stand. She could no longer cook. When the villagers heard, something unexpected happened. People came from every direction. Women brought soup and medicine. Children sat beside her bed, fanning her gently. Men stood outside her house, praying quietly. In that moment, Martha understood. None of her kindness had been lost. God had kept it all. Daniel rushed back when he heard the news. When he entered the house and saw so many people caring for his mother, his heart finally broke open. Sitting beside her bed, he cried and said, "Mother, you are never alone." Martha smiled weakly and whispered, "God never takes love away. He only moves it." After she recovered, Daniel begged her to come live with him in the city. Afraid of losing her, Martha prayed and felt peace. She believed God was opening another door. City life was loud and crowded. At times, Martha felt lonely inside the apartment. But one day, Daniel took her to a home for orphan children. When he told her she could help there, tears filled her eyes. She knew God had answered her loneliness once again. She cooked. She told stories. She prayed softly. She held children when they cried. They called her Grandma Martha. Her heart felt full in a new way. Years passed. Martha grew weaker, but her spirit remained strong. When she passed away peacefully, children, neighbors, workers, and strangers came to honor her life. Daniel stood quietly, understanding at last. His mother's lonely seasons were never empty. They were guided. And this is the lesson. When God allows loneliness into your life, He is not punishing you. He is preparing you. He removes noise so you can hear love more clearly. He removes people so your heart can grow wider. If you feel lonely today, remember this. God may be shaping you into light for someone else. Love given through God never disappears. It only finds new places to live. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more messages of faith and hope.